Specifically, well, everything kind of fit what I wanted. I was looking for another head coaching position, and they were looking for a head coach. And to be truthful, I love the history of Egypt, so I was really anxious to kind of, get to see sites around Cairo, all around the country, and you know, living here was one of the things that lured me here, to be honest with you.
That's very happy to hear. In your opinion, is there any differences between the game here or abroad?
In Europe, you saying between here and in Europe?
Yeah, abroad in general.
Um, so far, I haven't seen enough here to answer that in too much detail. But I'll say here so far, the one difference I've seen is Egypt has a lot more players. In certain places of Europe, they have problems filling up the team. And here, I understand teams have 40, 50, 60 players, so that's one advantage I've seen from here compared to Europe is the team sizes.
So, do you have a certain plan that you want to work on or to strengthen techniques to develop as a team definitely to ask?
Yes. Well, the first thing I want to work on is strength and conditioning. Strength and conditioning is very important. Schemes and techniques don't really mean as much as the team isn't in really good shape. So the first thing I plan on doing is bringing a new strength and conditioning program. That's first. And second, I plan on doing a lot more film work. We're going to study a lot of film, practice film, game film. We'll study NFL film, college football film. So I really want to get us in the classroom and be students of the game first, and I want to improve on our strength conditioning as well. So those are the two main things I plan on implementing first. Okay. First strategy is to implement our new scheme on offense. We're going to stay pretty uh, similar to what we're already doing now on defense because our defense doesn't need too much improvement from what I understand, but I do plan on putting in a new offensive scheme. The first thing I want to put in is really a new strength and conditioning program. That's the number one thing I want to put in a new way of us to study the game. From what I understand, the athletes on the team are really good. And the only thing we need to do is just get in football shape and get our technique down pat. So technique, scheme, and film study.
What do you look for in a player?
I look for effort first in a player, and I look for coachability. I need a guy that's actually willing to change, regardless of how fast, regardless of how strong he is, regardless of how long he's been playing the game. I look for players who understand what I want and they actually do it. I'll take a guy who may not be as fast or strong, but actually listens, and when I tell him something, he goes onto the field and does it. Then a guy who may be really fast, really strong, but he kind of does his own thing. Everybody that's played the game of football knows anything about it, knows football is the ultimate team sport. So you can't win a game with just one guy, doing his own thing. Everybody has to be on the same page. So that's what I look for the most. Guys that are coachable and they mesh good with the rest of the team. You know.
And since you've been coaching in Europe, and how long do you think we can, as an Egyptian national team or the Egyptian national team, can actually compete with one of the European national teams?
Well, there's actually a lot of different levels in Europe. When you compare, for example, Germany to, Serbia, there's a huge difference. So, Europe is kind of a broad term because there's so many different levels here. But what I say is, I don't think it actually will take long because we have a lot of players to choose from, first of all. Second of all, we have a lot of good athletes. I think the biggest thing will be getting coaching for a lot of the teams, and that's why I'm happy we have the academy, because now we can implement new good techniques, film study, and good strength conditioning throughout the entire country outside of just GUC Eagles. So, when the season's over, when we get the academy going, we get to implement a lot of things that we're doing, and I think that'll help the entire country football progress together. Because as much as we want to see GUC be on the top, as much as we will be on top, I like to see other teams as a get progressive to push us, as well as to progress for the national team. So, I look forward to pushing the entire program, and as well as Egypt. But I don't think it should take long. I say 3 or 4 years we'll be able to compete with the top teams in Europe. without bringing in players from other countries with just the Egyptian players.
Okay, one last thing. What do you look for in a coach when you have, I would say, candidates for the coaching clinic? What do you look for in a coach?
Well, other head coaches you're talking about. Other head coaches.
Other maybe head coaches, maybe position-specific coaches.
Well, position-specific coaches, similar to players. I like coaches who can follow directions, because being a head coach is a lot different than being an assistant coach.
Okay.
When you're the head coach, you're pretty much micromanaging everything, and when you're an assistant coach, you're managing your group, but you still have to take direction from the head coach, and that's the problem sometimes. Sometimes assistant coaches don't like taking orders, or they have conflict. I'll look for coaches who don't have a problem taking direction from the head coach, but also somebody I don't have to babysit. I can leave them on their own. They can do their own thing. I don't have to keep checking on them. So that's the biggest thing I look for: guys who can handle their own, but they also know how to take direction. So that's the biggest thing I look for.
For head coaches.
Excuse me.
And for head coaches, what do you look for in a head coach?
For head coaches, the biggest thing for head coaches will be someone who can implement their own system. They have to have their own offensive system, their own defensive system, their own strength and conditioning program, and their own special teams system. They have to be able to conduct a film room, study in the film room. They have to be able to take the entire offense, conduct a film study, take the entire defense, conduct a film study. They have to be able to break down film and notice what needs to be corrected. Even if the team's doing good, a good head coach has to be able to see a team that's winning and still find something they can progress on. So that's the biggest thing.
Seeing as I've experienced football since 2008 in Egypt, this was actually the second year it was played. Coach Terry is the first true and fully fledged American head coach to actually visit Egypt from abroad, just for the specific function of coaching a team as a head coach and at the same time handling an academy. So welcome, and we're hoping to see a good season. Our season this year will have 5 teams facing off against each other, starting from March 13th. It's Friday the 13th, so it should be very entertaining. I guess we'll see what our team can do. We're very optimistic to the direction that we're going. We're starting to become more organized and much more professional, instead of the normal amateur scene that is usually visible around countries or inside countries that actually adopt American football and start to build it from the ground up. So this is a great next step, and hopefully more light will be shed on this subject within the next 2 months. And thank you for being here. This is the first college American football team, or this was the first American football team to be established inside a university in Egypt. So since day one, we've always been making the university proud, and we're depending on that, because this is our legacy for, let's say, the new generations to come, because we're not going to be the same faces maybe in 2, 3, 4 years. So as much as we want everyone to feel the pride that we have being GUC students or GUC alumni, we also want to feel that part where the GUC is proud of having us. So let's just say that it should be a mutual benefit. And we give a lot to the university, and we just expect their appreciation, eventually speaking. And seeing as our previous tournament, it was a flag football tournament, which is basically no contact football. We were 4-0. 4-0 meaning that we won 4 games out of all the games that we played. We only had 4 games, and we came out on the top of that tourney. And it was hosted right here at the GUC. This is only one example. This is the most recent example. There are other examples. There were older, let's say, organizations that we were affiliated with, that allowed us to represent this university in good faith. So, yeah, maybe the GUC should show us some love.
When we first started the Egyptian Federation of American Football a few months ago, one of our main goals was how to develop the game in Egypt and how to build new teams. Usually our biggest problem whenever we start a new team during the past few years, it was always coaching. having teams that are able to pay for the financials to bring a coach from abroad is hard, and there's not enough financial support for most of the teams in here. So we usually have to either depend on players paying fees for their coaches, and that's usually not enough to bring coaches from abroad. So the main goal of IFAF was to collect all the effort of all teams together so that we can have one entity that we can all learn from. So our main goal was to start an academy. The academy was going to first of all have coaching clinics, because we need in the next few years to have Egyptian coaches here in Egypt. One's of our own, one's that came from IFAF, that started in our teams and became coaches, and they're gonna learn from Coach Terry a lot, because when we were talking to Coach Terry before he comes here, he already knows how to teach the USA football certification. So we are looking forward to having coaching clinics where our coaches get to learn all the basics and the fundamentals of how to coach players and how to bring them to the teams cannot absorb the amount of players showing up. So that's where the idea of the academy came from, where we can collect all the players in one place with Coach Terry and his assistant coaches, and they can all learn the fundamentals and the basics of the game, and then they can go later into one of the 5 teams. The last thing in the academy we plan to have is youth. We want to introduce the game to the lower age groups, starting from 14 to 18 years old, so that we can build a new, let's say, generation that can later on in a few years be ready to join our teams and hopefully expand the league.
Or any skills that demand for someone to apply for the academy, or certain requirements for applying? Or anyone can apply?
That's the nice thing about football, that everyone can play football. No matter what size you are, what athletic abilities you have, you can always learn, you can always fit in the team in one of the positions, either on the defensive side or the offensive side of the team. So everyone can join the academy, and when they get to learn the basics and the fundamentals, eventually they're going to know where exactly they can fit in the team, and they can decide on which position, or the coaches can help them know where they can play. But generally anyone can play or join the academy.
Can you give me details about the teaching training programs that you're going to give us in the academy?
As I said, we want to introduce youth football for age groups from 14 to 18. We want to have the seniors program for all the players who apply in the teams and whoever wants to play football. Because now it's a requirement in IFAF, before you join one of the teams, you have to first go through the academy and then go to the team. And the last thing we want to introduce later on is football fitness. That's going to be a fitness program it's not necessarily for those who want to play football, but those who want to get to the same fitness level and learn the fitness and conditioning that football players have, but without playing the game. So these are the main 3.
I just want to know how people can apply to the academy, or how
We'll be announcing on our website and our Facebook page in a couple of weeks, and we'll have forms for whoever wants to apply, so people should stay posted to our page.
The founding of the team, it has always been, like I said, individual efforts. This is a culture for any American football team here in Egypt. We all know how this game works. We all know it's not as easy to play as other sports. So since the day I first started playing here, there have been a monthly fee for each player that is paid on a regular basis. The actual amount is variable according to whatever expenses we had at that time, according to the team's need in general. So it's not a fixed value. However, if you want to play football, you gotta earn it, and you earn it with effort on the field and as well contributing off the field financially. So, and this is actually, it's a culture. I mean, it's a trend for any other football team, American football team in Egypt. It's just the way the game works, and it's the way it works over here actually. So this is our only option for now. I mean, we seeking help from the GUC. To be fair, we've had them pay for our jerseys, the jerseys that we currently wear, although we'll be having new ones soon, inshallah. However, that's about it. That's about all the financial support we got from the GUC. The active working group Inspire has been contributing lately. However, there's a larger scale. I mean, there's a bigger picture, and the only way we can cover all our expenses is by if all the players contribute financially on a monthly basis. Okay. Any questions? Okay. To conclude, I just want to say thank you all for coming up. Thank you, Insider. Thank you, Photography. We're very excited for the season. We're really looking forward, and we hope to come out on top again, like Coach Moise said. Thank you.